Listen closely. Creating the conditions is the most underrated study hack that you're not using. If you start studying like this, I guarantee it'll be so much easier for you to earn those 90s and 100s. And you're dead wrong if you think that creating the conditions is simply finding a quiet place to study. As a 15-year high school English teacher, I can confidently bet you millions that you've never even considered most of these study techniques that I'm about to share with you, especially the seventh one. And not knowing these secrets are costing you easy marks on every exam. Let's dive right in. Creating the conditions for your exam simply means studying as close to exam-like conditions as possible. And the first way you can do this is with time. The first hack is to actually study at the time of your exams. If your exam's at 9 a.m., you should start your study sessions around 8:30, 9 a.m. so your brain gets used to working at peak efficiency at the time of your exam. Why is this so important? Well, at exam time, most students end up staying up late studying at 11, 12, 1, 2, 4, sometimes even 5 or 6 a.m. And then all of a sudden they got to wake up after a couple hours of sleep and they wonder why their brain's not working when they need it to. So if you're going to study 8, 9, 10 hours a day, start early in the morning at around 8 a.m., finish at 4 or 6, and then relax so you can get a good night's sleep and your brain is used to working in the morning. And the second time hack is so intuitive, you're probably thinking, why didn't I use this before? And it simply is, if your exam is 90 minutes, for example, study in 90-minute blocks. If your exam is 2 hours, study in 2-hour blocks. This seems so simple, but so many students study 20 minutes break, 20 minutes break, 20 minutes break, and all of a sudden they get to their exam and they have to study and focus for an hour and a half. Well, guess what your brain says at the 20-minute mark? See ya, I'm out, because they're used to taking that breather. For example, you wouldn't show up to a marathon when you've only run at most for 30 minutes. So why are you showing up for a 2-hour exam when at most you can study for 30 minutes? I thought these next 3 tips were so obvious, but when I asked my class if they do it consistently, most students said no. No wonder my class average was 71. The second way you can create the conditions along with time is space. So for this third secret hack, you need to find a quiet place to study. Obviously, your exam is going to be quiet and you want to study in conditions where there's not loud noises, loud distractions, so the information is more likely going to stick in your long-term memory. And the second space hack, wherever it is that you're studying, your space has to be free of distractions. I cannot stress that enough. The reason is exam studying sucks. It's boring as hell. You know what's not boring for you? Probably Instagram, TikTok, TV, Netflix, etc. If you have distractions around you at all times, your brain is going to think, this is boring. I need that dopamine hit. Where's your phone? Where's the TV? Where's the computer? So in reverse order, put that computer away, because if you're studying with tabs open, it's so easy to open Reddit or some other website. Another minor one, although obvious to me, don't study with music on. You're not going to have music during the exam, so why study with it? It's just one more distraction. When the song you don't want comes on, you're going to take a few minutes, interrupt your studying to find a real banger. Not good for your studying. And lastly, and most importantly, and I know this is going to kill you, put your phone in another room. Outside of the obvious distractions when studying, you're probably so used to the constant notifications and checking them whenever they ding. Imagine what happens when your phone is away during the exam. I can guarantee you are going to get phantom texts and keep thinking someone is texting or messaging or notifying you during the exam, providing constant distractions. If you get used to studying for 90 minutes or 2 hours at a time, remember hack number 2, your brain is going to get used to not needing those distractions for 90-minute blocks, and you are going to be so dialed in during your exam. I promise those 90s are just a couple answers away. With these next 2 secrets, my students have actually said that it's probably gained them 15 to 20% on every exam. And the reason is they were able to finish on time when other students in the class had their exams taken away before they finished because the time was up. Now, the third way you can create the conditions of the exam, along with time and space, is content. And for this 5th hack, you have to make your study content as close to the exam as possible. And what this means is leveraging AI. Now, most teachers will give you a general outline of the exam, X amount of multiple choice, Y number of short answers, Z number of true false. And what students do with this, which is actually pretty dumb, is just read their notes over and over again. It's like learning to play a sport with just watching it. It's dumb. What do you think will happen when you get on the field? What you need to do now is take all of your study notes that you're reading over and over for some reason, plug them into ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever AI, and tell it to create the type of exam that you will be doing. If it's 50 multiple choice and 3 short answer, tell ChatGPT to take those study notes and give you 50 multiple choice, 3 short answer, and sit down and finish that exam. Remember the time component. This will allow you to create the conditions, and you actually are used to that format and going through it, and you see how well you do in the amount of time that you have. Now, this last hack, I guarantee you've never even thought of, but you've run into this problem before. Most exams are done on paper, yet most students study on a computer. And the reason this is bad is, what do you think wears out 20 minutes into your exam, your left or right hand, whichever one you write with? Ta-da! The reason is the muscles you use to write with your hand are different than the ones you use to type. And I have seen so many students in the middle of an exam, probably 15 to 20 minutes in, giving it a massage, trying to get it up and running. So if you're used to, especially if you have essay type questions, actually sitting there and writing out an essay by hand, I promise you, by the time you get to your exam, your muscles are going to have some good use, and you are actually not going to get cramped. You're going to be writing for an hour and a half, 2 hours, where you're going to see your other friends struggling to finish. You're going to finish with ease, go back on exam feedback day, and see those 90s and 100s. And you can thank me later in the comments down below. What you study is up to you. But by leveraging time, space, and content to create the conditions as close to the exam as possible, now how you study is so much smarter. Combine the what and the how, you're getting those 90s and 100s. And if you're struggling to figure out how to study, you might also want to know what to study as well. If that's the case, you can click on this video right here where I explained just that, what you can study effectively so that you earn those 90s and 100s. Take care. I'll see you in the